All right. We started the last one with a flow, so let's do it again. This one is about authority and freedom. It's two concepts we made up. Two concepts that actually make us feel a lot of things. A lot of different things, really. With authority, you gain a certain sense of safety. You have rules that you have to follow for that safety. So that takes away a little bit of your freedom. With freedom, you can do whatever you want. There are no rules that can stop you. At the same time, you are on your own with no one there to protect you. You're free. It's a little scary. An authority might make that fear go away. The authority only exists because we believe. The authority maybe makes us feel like we are going to be safe. If we follow the rules, then we'll be protected and cared for. That's a belief. So we follow the thing that we are told to follow because we believe. What if the thing that you were told to follow, what if it's not worth believing? What if you believe something different? How are you going to go against this thing? That's the question. Some people want to go directly at an authority, against it, make their own authority and say, mine is right. Some people want to avoid the authority, hide under the radar. If it can't catch me, I can do whatever I want. Some people choose to ignore the authority. And I think in longer terms, a broader scale, that's the way. To ignore the authority is to claim that the authority doesn't really exist. And since the existence of the authority is a matter of belief, you can maybe convince yourself that you're right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. If you're still watching it or listening to it, I appreciate you. I can talk a whole bunch. I can talk about a whole bunch of things. And for me, personally, I think that I am most free when I am able to just talk. And usually it was an authority when I was growing up that would tell me to stop talking, right? Like if I was disrupting a class or if I am interrupting somebody who's doing something else. So maybe parents are telling me or friends are telling me to stop talking. Shut up, Eddie. My siblings, shut up, Eddie. And, that's fine because sometimes I can overdo it, obviously. And the authority that I believed in was essentially the one that would best make peace. So like, I understood that if, say, I'm in a classroom and I'm talking to somebody, that the talking is disrupting the teacher's trying to get the thing going, and like that will be the class, that will be the activity. And so I can understand that when somebody tells me to stop talking, I acknowledge their authority over me in that moment because of the overall benefit, say that we will be able to do the activity, instead of another option, which if someone tells you to stop talking, tells me to stop talking, I might say, no, I don't want to, and then become aggressive towards the person who told me as a way to counter that authority. And I think that when it comes to authority, it is a delicate issue because some people have confidence in themselves and some people don't have as much confidence. And based on the amount of confidence that you have in yourself is how well you will treat the moments when your authority is challenged. So that's all to say that if you understand that the true authority is that everyone has control over themselves, and you can't really stop anybody from doing anything. You can tell them, and you can give them warnings, and you can make the warnings understandable, like reasons or perhaps threats, but you can't really make anybody do anything. So the authority truly lies with each of us, and it's more of a concept, the authority, that we place onto things outside of us to say that that is going to be the thing that informs my decision. So like in the classroom example, if I'm in the class and I want to talk to someone and the teacher wants to get started, if the teacher tells me to stop talking, then I am then giving my authority to the teacher. I am choosing to no longer let words come out of my mouth. So I'm now choosing to sit quietly. That is my choice, but the original inspiration for that choice that I am making is coming from outside of me. That is coming from a sense of belief that if I'm in this classroom, that I want to enjoy the activity of the day, I'm going to trust the teacher to be ready to give us an assignment, an activity, and let us have fun with it. And that gets into a key part of authority, is trust. Because without the trust, authority becomes imposing. So in the previous episode, we talked about energies. Energies essentially heading outside the body, and energies heading inside the body. The energy, that transfers around, kinetic energy, electromagnetic energy, all that type of stuff. It transfers around. When it's inside of us, we receive it as our feminine energy, and then it becomes masculine energy as we project it outward. So then we make changes. To impose your authority onto someone else means that your masculine is now controlling them. And that is fine if the people you're controlling are accepting and desiring to be controlled, to have your decisions be the ones that influence their actions. And this is really hand-wavy and kind of general speaking, so let's put some examples onto it. Let's say a common authority in the world as it is actually doctors in the medical system. We give authority to those people. When we go to the doctor, they will then tell us maybe some dietary changes, maybe some lifestyle changes, maybe some medicines to take, maybe some stretches to try. And now it is up to us to then do those things. And if we think that those things will be worth it, if we're receptive to it, then the authority is received well and it flows. The energy flows outside of the authority figure. Their masculine then turns into our feminine of we receive it and then shift that into our masculine. We do the thing that we are told. Even though it is what we're told, we're still choosing to do it. So this is kind of a gray area when it comes to authority. Is who's really in charge, because the truth is that you're in charge, but we make up authorities like laws, like religions, like doctors, like teachers, concepts where we tell people in general that in this culture, in this society, these people, these ideas are the ones that we choose to be our authority instead of ourselves. And maybe there's a good reason for that. Maybe if the law says don't hurt people, then when I myself, maybe I'm a little strange in my brain and I say it's okay to hurt people. Well, the law is the thing that we have all agreed upon, and so that is going to be the overall authority, and so then we will all take that to be our own authority. We accept that in. Of course, authority mixing with freedom is going to have its clashes, and that's where balance is necessary to find, because without the balance, then we flow too far into one of the extremes, where we become too free and we lose our sense of safety, or we become too authoritarian, too much authority, and we lose our sense of freedom. The trust, as I was saying before, is kind of the glue that allows authority to exist with the sense of freedom. Is that the trust is a belief that the authority, which is again another belief, so this belief that this person is actually in the overall sense looking out for my benefit. If I can understand or at least believe that the authority figure that I'm listening to is actually in it for me, that even though it's not for my personal interest right now, that it's in my long-term interest, then I can give trust, which is another belief, and I can kind of sedate my own authority a little bit longer to continue to listen to the authority outside of myself. All right, that was a huge thingy. Let's put some music on and do a thing on it. Yeah, something on authority, something on, yeah, we'll see what happens. Something on authority. Well, authority makes me think of a thing I was told. I haven't done that much research into it because I like the story. It has to do with the Chinese Zodiac, and that this year is the year of the dragon. So my friend told me about this. She told me that 2 years ago was the year of the tiger, intensity. I took that to mean lessons that I was being given from the world. Learn your lessons, learn them again if you didn't. That's kind of what they talk about with the idea of cycles, like in the karmic philosophy, and Vedic ideas, karmic cycles. You have an opportunity to learn some lessons, because after the year of the tiger comes the rabbit. The rabbit is play, games. We're just gonna play a bunch of games. Tests. Did you learn your lessons? Because if you didn't, here's a chance. Another opportunity to try, to learn, to grow again. Cycles, repeat. It gives you a chance. And maybe the Zodiac is trying to tell us that the opportune time can be described in a cycle of 12 different sections. Tiger, rabbit, next is dragon. Authority. Be who you are. The dragon doesn't hunt the humans. The dragon isn't worried about them. The dragon negotiates. Tests. Be. You learned your lesson, you passed your test, well, you took them, now it's time to be yourself, to be the authority, to be the dragon within. All that is to say is that you are the dragon, this thing that you can imagine bigger than yourself. It is powerful. It can breathe fire. Maybe it flies. I can't do that. So I'm going to give my authority to the thing that feels more powerful than me. Well, the realization that you will gain in your journeys of life is that you are the authority. Every decision comes down to you in this moment. Yes, we have baggage, history, habits, traumas, patterns, whatever you want to call them. But we are new in this moment now. So it is up to you. What do you want to do? Do you want to listen to yourself or to authorities outside? Because when you listen to your authority, you are also free. When you listen outside, that might not be. Ooh-wee. Yeah, the idea of an authority kind of actually gets into one of the deepest ideas that humans like to discuss. Right? A lot of times people don't want to go super deep into what is this place, what is existence, my place here. But weirdly, we're pretty okay with it at the beginning of our lives. If you ask a kid, or rather if you tell a kid something, the kid's going to ask you why 1,000,000 times. And if you keep giving answers, the kid's going to keep probing deeper, why, until eventually there comes a point when you don't know, because the kid's going to ask why all the time, and you don't know everything. Obviously, I don't know everything, so at some point we are done. And when we're zooming back, when we're a little group of people, or maybe a bigger group of people, a tribe, and people keep asking questions, right? We keep making new ones. These kids eventually grow, they have words, and then they ask questions. And man, oh man, I don't have answers for these questions. And I mean, they keep asking more and new ones. Like, that's tough to keep up with. So at a certain point, we use stories to be able to describe the answers. And one of the stories that eventually, over time and cultures combining and moving around and shifting languages, things like that, we have now brought ourselves into this time where we have kind of a catch-all, where if you don't really know how something works or why something is that way, why did something happen this way and not a different way, then you can kind of just throw it to God or the religion that you follow. That's just the way it's meant to be. The Tao, this is the way. The karma, that this was meant to be how it folds out, so that the karma has a chance to play out both good and bad. These are ideas that allow us to let go of the expectation that we have to play an authority as ourselves. And I think this is probably one of the most beneficial things that comes from various religious beliefs, is the idea that although we have our own authority, we do not have everything. We do not know everything, and we are not in charge of everything. So to be humble enough to remember that there are authorities outside of ourselves that are more powerful than us, as though it's a dragon, right? A wave is not going to say, sorry, excuse me, and move out of my way. It's going to crash into me. As many waves as you want to punch in the ocean, you're never going to be able to defeat the army of the ocean, as I used to try to do when I was a kid. It just keeps going, and that's kind of the nature of reality. And I think that one of the messages that came and grew into the religion of Christianity, that came from and grew into it, was Jesus trying to express to the people who were in the mindset of believing that there is an authority, a God outside of themselves, that they should be humble to and listen to every word. And the system at the time, the community, had made a group of people, made a role for people in this group, that they would become the authority on interacting with the grandest of authorities, the God. So then we made priests as a concept, and we gave them authority to say, okay, I'll accept that you are holy, you are talking with the God, so if I want to talk to the God, I don't know how, so I'll talk with you. That will be the steps of authority that I go through in order to get to the highest authority of all. And Jesus brought a revolution in this way, of trying to express to the people that you do not need to use the systems that have been established in the human world. You have a connection to this grander authority yourself. And it needs to be remembered that this thing is more powerful than us. So to accept that we might be wrong, we might be entirely wrong, that when the message does come to us, it might mean that we have to change something about ourselves. And it's our choice, because we are the overall authority of whether or not we want to follow that outside thing. But when it comes to morals and basic human beliefs, we're pretty much aligned. If you interact with kids, they feel empathy for each other. They feel that they do not want to be left behind. They do not want to be harmed or hurt or pushed down lesser than anyone else. And the teacher's job, of course, is to expand the awareness of that child, of each child, to understand that, well, if they don't want that, then nobody wants it, and our actions have consequence. So although we are the absolute authority of ourselves, we have the absolute freedom to do whatever we want, but there is consequence. And we as a human species have over time been creating new authorities in order to basically ensure the safety of the people, but that can also be done if the people were to become aware of the consequences of their actions, and how we have the freedom and the responsibility to do anything. So I think that's actually where we're at right now, is we are heading into a new world where we are going to see that we have all of the authority and all of the freedom, and we have to actually take that responsibility and figure out a way that we can work together for the benefit of all of us, because that is what gains the trust of those that were willing to follow an authority, is that the overall intention of an authority figure is for the benefit of everyone being controlled by the authority, everyone underneath it. All right, yeah, go team go. We got a mission. I'll see you in the next one.